Welcome back to the Shadowy Figures of the Aztec Theater. This is Chapter 7, Stage Fright. Tonight, Luis finds himself alone on the stage of the Aztec Theater. But he is not truly alone. For the first time, the shadows take form, ghostly echoes of the theatergoers from the 1930s drifting through the air like smoke from a long-dead projector. As the visions grow more real, more dangerous, Luis must face a chilling question. When Clara arrives, is she here to help or to harm? Before we begin, don't forget to share this story with fellow ghost lovers. Hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter. And remember, the novel The Shadowy Figures of the Aztec Theater is available to download free for a limited time, where you can grab a paperback copy now on Amazon.com. Turn down the lights, and let's step onto the stage.
Chapter 7, Stage Fright. Wednesday night at the Aztec Theater was supposed to be routine. Luis needed routine. After Eva, after the key left on the counter like a curse, after the long, circling talk with Father Fisher. Routine was safe and comforting, but the air didn't feel safe. Luis felt watched. The disinfectant clung to the air like a second skin. Citrus and bleach, fighting for dominance. Somewhere in the distance, the buffer hummed. A comfortingly normal sound. Sally, ever the dependable temp, polished the floor of the lobby. Jorge, always a gentleman, volunteered and tackled the bathrooms. Marco was out. His wife had gone into labor, and so Luis inherited the orchestra section, the seats near the stage and the stage itself. He didn't mind. He told himself he didn't. Anyway, the auditorium yawned before him, shadows deep in the corners despite the emergency lights. Luis worked row by row, spritzing and wiping down the cracked vinyl seats. The soft hush of his rag was the only rhythm in the room. Each breath echoed. He paused once and looked up at the great Aztec mask above the stage. Stone-eyed, eternal, watching. The expression never changed, but tonight it felt different, more awake. Luis finished the chairs and turned to the final task. Mopping the wide protective vinyl dance floor of the stage. The black covering was still marked with footprints and glittery residue from last weekend's Latin jazz showcase, where someone had thought silver tinsel and confetti would be festive. It was then he noticed it. Something glinting, tangled high on the curtain to stage right. A long, dancing strip of silver tinsel, swaying though there was no breeze. He narrowed his eyes to see it more clearly. After a long sigh, he decided it was his duty to remove it. Most people would have gotten a ladder, but Luis had stopped feeling like most people.
He dragged a folding chair across the stage and tested it with his foot. It wobbled, but not fatally. He retrieved a broom and mounted the chair like a cautious knight, extending the bristles toward the tinsel. First poke, missed. Second, closer. Third, the chair twitched. Not enough to send him flying, but enough to break balance. Enough to feel a hand or something like one brush against his lower back. Luis yelped, dropped the broom, and stumbled. The chair tipped. He fell sideways. The stage met him like an iron skillet. Head first. Pain exploded through his skull. A dull, blinding thunder resonated and rattled his brain. He didn't move. Couldn't. The world spun wildly. Lights blurring into starlight, sound falling away like a forgotten note. Then light, brilliant and unnatural shimmers, poured across the stage like moonlight made metallic. Luis opened one eye, squinting against the glare. The projection booth, sealed, locked, glowed in white. The screen flickered. A black and white film played accompanied by scratchy, crackling music and voices. He recognized the movie. A woman with dark curls, a veiled hat and a dark dress smiled as she walked. It was Lupe Valles in Mexican Spitfire Sees a Ghost. A mustached man joined her on the screen. Luis groaned, rolling to his side. "Jorge?" he called out, voice thick with pain. "Sally?" There was no answer. The mop handle lay beside him like a broken weapon. He checked his pocket to be sure that someone had taken his keys. The booth key was still there, still zipped inside his hoodie. No one had gone in. The smell hit next, different than before. Not bleach, not lemon cleaner. This was perfume, pomade, cigarette smoke, warm popcorn, and dusty velvet. the smell of ghosts who hadn't yet decided they were dead.
Louis stood slowly.
The air was heavy, syrupy. The ceiling shimmered above, the stars glowing more brightly than they ever did. A painted moon glided across it, subtly, impossibly moving. And the curtains, they looked new, not refurbished, new. Velvet so rich it caught the light like wet paint. He turned toward the audience and froze. He was astonished that there were people in the seats. Not ghosts or specters, but actual people. A couple sat near the back mid-kiss as he held her by the back of the head. The woman's hat tilted at a precarious angle to avoid the discomfort of his overenthusiastic patron. Even from that distance, he could see her cheeks were rouged red and her hands gloved. The man leaned into her, suspenders taut, tie loosened. 3 rows forward, a man in a brown suit slouched under a fedora, an open liquor bottle resting on his chest. He snored softly, oblivious. Further down, a family watched the screen with rapt attention. Father, mother, and 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, all dressed in their Sunday best. Little gloves, shine shoes. The girl clutched a small fabric rabbit to her chest. Louis's heart pounded. His breath felt too loud. The movie continued behind him, flickering shadows across the walls. A real organ, not an antiseptic digital recording, played in the background. Each note seemed to sink beneath his skin and vibrate through his ribs. He took a step toward the orchestra pit, then froze. Someone else was on the stage. A woman stood a few feet away. He could see her lovely and sharp profile. The hem of her pencil skirt hugged her above the knee. Her braid trailed down the center of her back. Louis staggered back, hand pressed to his bleeding head. No one moved, except Clara. She lowered her hand and stepped toward him. 1 step, 2. Louis reached toward her. Whether for help or to stop her, he didn't know, but just before he could touch her, everything collapsed. The light evaporated. The music died mid-note. The theater was empty again, silent and dead. The mop lay beside him. The chair tipped over. No audience in the seats. No smells. No Clara. Louis collapsed onto his side, heart hammering, hands still sticky with his own blood. Above him, the projection booth flickered once more. Just once and then went dark.
That was Chapter 7, Stage Fright. Louis has crossed a threshold tonight. The shadows are no longer whispers, but faces from another time. And Clara's role in this haunting is beginning to twist in unsettling ways. If this chapter left you chilled, share it with someone who loves a good ghost story. Like this video and subscribe so you won't miss the horrors still to come. Don't forget, The Shadowy Figures of the Aztec Theater is free to download for a limited time and also available in paperback at Amazon.com. The curtain may have fallen on this chapter, but the shadows are only getting darker.